Why? I waited 3 months for this call. The story started in February 2019 when I was miserable selling popcorn in Disneyland. To keep myself sane, I decided to take a trip to Cambodia, and I thought it's a good idea to make a video and document that trip. So I took my father's 8-year-old camera and started filming, and it never stopped. In 2019, I filmed each and every trip that I took, and when I came back from exchange, it seems like working as a videographer is worth a try. So I ended up applying to work in a production house, and this call is the one that tells me I fucking made it. So after spending a fortune on gear and working in production for 6 months, here are the 3 things I learned. First, let me introduce you to the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive illusion revolving around a person's perceivability and actualability. A beginner in a certain area would rate themselves as near experts because they are unaware of how much they still had to learn. But as they start to progress, they will often realize or even exaggerate their own flaws and rate themselves much lower in that area before gaining confidence through concrete experience. And before that downward spiral kicks in, the individual will be sitting at Mount Stupid, the peak of their perceivability, with very low actual competence. I was here for quite a while. Back then, which is about a year ago, all I did was make travel videos and watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials. I've never actually been on set, I've never worked with anyone else, and I've never even touched a C-stand. But somehow I thought I was good, as if my fancy transitions and speed ramps is gonna blow the world away, resulting in this. Anyways, it took literally no time for me to realize how much I suck. My first time on set, it was a shoot for a university's teaching material, and I thought it was gonna be easy. But I couldn't be more wrong. I remember being shocked by how much gear the gaffer brought with her, and I didn't even know how to power them on. Now, the DP brought a rigged out monster of a camera with accessories that I didn't even know existed, and needless to say, I passed the day like a complete idiot, standing in the corner, not knowing what to do, while everyone else was rushing left and right. And that's the moment I realized I know absolutely nothing about making videos. That was such a revelation back then. It was like a Matrix taking the red pill and puking on the floor level revelation. But it doesn't end there. Because soon after that shoot, there was the other shoot with a bigger crew and a bigger camera, and I was even more clueless than the first time. To be completely honest, even up to this point, every time I go on set, I still feel completely out of depth. It's just that I got way better at pretending to know what I'm doing. Now, all of that was very intimidating, but also very necessary, because after processing the plummeting self-worth along the Dunning-Kruger curve, I became more interested in filmmaking than ever before. All of these experiences telling me how I knew jack shit about making videos just somehow freed me from my fragile ego, and I suddenly stopped being afraid to learn new stuff, like After Effects or color grading, because I'm now used to being completely clueless. It obviously meant a lot more work, and it was a hard pill to swallow for someone as egotistic as I am, but I guess that's where we all start from, the rock bottom. So when we think about the production industry as a whole, we think about big crews, big cameras, big stars, and big everything. Well, that turns out to be a very tiny portion of what there is. So see, my first project here was to make a comparison video across 6 different shopping malls in Hong Kong during and after the first wave of COVID. So during the first week, what I literally ended up doing was holding a DJI Osmos and wander around this place, trying my best not to look like a lunatic while editing 17 cuts of this technical masterpiece. There are just so much more of these peppered throughout the year, I didn't even bother to count. But even when the project is big and exciting, is never big and exciting. And let me illustrate this to you by comparing the process of making a YouTube video and a professional one. For a YouTube video, I start off with an idea, which could come at any time. I lose sleep about it, I write the script out, shoot it with some friends, edit it, then hit export and let YouTube's compression turn it into trash and get lost in oceans of videos. For a pro project, it's pretty much the same thing but with some tiny tweaks. First, you have clients banning ideas over and over again, forcing you to redraft everything. Then your budget will probably get cut in half, giving you trouble with finding the right location, the right talent, and the right crew. And that's just pre-production. On shoot day, you'll face technical issues, a cranky star, idiotic PAs, annoying clients, and a ticking clock. Everyone is tired and agitated towards the end of the shoot because it overran for 5 hours and they all now secretly hate you. So after all these hassles and endless back and forth editing, you are now free to see your work get either ad blocked or skipped by millions of people on YouTube. My point being is not all fun and games, and right now what I can do in big productions are absolutely minimum, so I'm not even feeling the full effect of these hiccups. I think most of us have a vague idea of the grand illusion created by the media, but experiencing it firsthand is another level of frustration. So I think the best way to sum this all up is with this meme. This is what we show you on camera, and this is what you don't see. I know it sounds really grim, but there's a tiny catch. Despite all these hardships, the people that I meet at work are among the most talented and hardworking people that I knew. And I don't think that's a coincidence. People want to be proud of what they make. They want to be able to point to that one piece of great work and say, I made that. That's why they're always willing to put in 100% into their work, because it's fucking exhilarating to see something that you have a part in creating come to life. And just for that, it's worth weathering the shitstorm. So during the 2 months of limbo of the company not returning my call, I really thought they're not hiring me. And to be honest, I was kind of relieved. It really puzzled me back then as to why I thought that, because it very clearly contradicted my wants. I wanted to know what the industry was like, I wanted to shoot beautiful stuff, and I wanted to tell stories. But right now I think I have the simple answer. I was scared. Going towards what we want changes or threatens our identity. It's much easier to be a filmmaker that no one knows of than a filmmaker that sucks. And to chase our dreams is a certain way to shake up the comfort of knowing who we are or where we are in the world. We avoid that at all costs, even though it might potentially make our life better. But once you're thrust into this world of unknown, your brain starts to bombard you with thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I start off too late, you look at other people's work and fall deep down into the rabbit hole of comparison. Until one day you might even think that maybe I didn't even like it that much in the first place. Ever since I was a kid, I was very attached to creating stuff. I liked drawing when I was little, I liked writing when I was a bit older, and I've always loved music. But this is the first time me consciously trying to turn creating things into a career, something that I would commit to and define my life around. And to give up so soon or to admit to myself that I don't have what it takes is like ending Harry Potter by saying the whole thing was in Harry's head. It will throw away the dream and narrative that I've been building for my entire life and leave me asking, what for? The ultimate cost of chasing a dream is the potential of losing it, and by extension, losing parts of ourselves. It might sound terrifying at first, but actually it's fine, because I think growing up is about ditching assumptions about ourselves and going from being wrong to slightly less wrong. And instead of seeing myself as a failure for lacking conviction or mistaking something as my true calling, I would need to see this as a start of something new, an opportunity for me to course correct. And the past 6 months have just been that. a real chance for me to confront myself about dreams, aspirations, and what I want out of life. So the final question will be, will I continue down this path? And the answer is, I don't know. There's still so much more to see, and I think as a naive 21-year-old, I have the necessary entitlement and freedom to be surprised. But I still love creating. I still love telling stories, and I still think about it every day. So even though if it doesn't become a career, it will forever hold a special place in my heart. And I want to wrap this all up with a Winston Churchill quote. Never give up on something that you can't go a day without thinking about. What are you thinking about?